Yogis, welcome to your Maya Reset, plane expression. When we think about the word plane, we would often think of ordinary, but the plane that we're working with today is not that kind of plane. Filling into the energy at the moment of expression, and of course, expression would often be perceived as the polarity of plane. The plane or planes that we're working with today is our planes of direction, planes of anatomical direction, positioning, and also our planes of movement. And so when we clear and cleanse ourselves, for an example, before a practice or for a space, you wouldn't simply run in one set plane. However, our day, our seat, the way that we move around tends to be, and even within our practice, in one set plane, which doesn't leave a lot of room for expression. Yogis, your tools that will benefit you for practice today. If you would like to hit pause and gather these, is one strap or belt and one bolster or nice big thick cushion or pillow to be able to use to support you for practice today. And once you have collected your props and joined me back on the mat, we're going to be beginning today standing up. If you want to take your props just off to the side of the mat, and the space that you will want to work with today is occupying all four corners of the mat, and allow yourself a spaciousness either side of the mat, but also behind you on a wall somewhere. So ensuring that you have your mat or a wall nearby you, a nice blank open wall to be able to utilize a large space of. And so, yogis, when we take our practice upon the mat, we think of our vinyasa flows, and we take our arm movements typically and our physical body movements through this one set plane. We work with a lot of the postures in this plane, and that plane is the sagittal plane. It's the plane that divides our body from left and right, and when we walk, we swing our arms through the sagittal plane. When we walk, we swing our legs through the sagittal plane. It's very constricted or restricted. It's flexion and extension. So if you think of any movement where there is flexion and extension, i.e. stepping back in a lunge, swinging your arms overhead, Anjaneyasana, your Hanumanasana, all sagittal plane. But of course, the energy that we're working with at the moment is expression. And I want you to consider for a moment, how good does it feel when you stride out and take a nice wide, deep goddess squat, when you allow your hips to pivot out, when you take the knees out nice and wide, when we swing and sweep our arms nice and wide. It feels expansive and it feels expressive. When we work with rotation and sweeps overhead, when we take our skandasana, our spinal twists, all these beautiful, beautiful, expressive and expansive sensations that we take upon the body. Yogis, let's settle into a Tadasana with the big toes together. The plane that we're looking at today to work in is the frontal plane. And so it's movements along the body. When we work with the front body and the back body, And we take our arms to sweep them wide when we take a side body stretch, when we take our goddess squat, and also our rotations. When we find ourselves working in the transverse plane, when we take twists and turns. Think of a eagle bind, a gomukhasan. Think of your beautiful wide body stretches and releases. These are the beautiful expressive planes of movement, planes of motion, the plane of expression that we'll be working in today. From your Tadasana, take a rotation around the transverse plane as you take your thumbs out wide and open the palms towards the front of the room. We draw the shoulder blades back down the back body and create space between the ears and the tops of the shoulder. Let's close down your eyes and take a deep inhale through the nose. As you take a pause in that breath, in a moment of kumbhaka, and we sit in stillness, the body expanding in all directions, slowly releasing that breath, and notice as you let go of that energy and that prana, the body draw inwards towards your core, your center. Let's take that 5 more rounds. Deep inhale through the nose. Taking a moment of pause at the top of the breath and then slowly releasing the breath with an exhale out of the nose. Next 4 rounds with these eyes closed down, I really want you to tune into your senses and the sensations. Deep inhale of your body filling all of those planes of movement as you expand and express yourself via your breath. Exhale, slowly releasing the breath. Next 3 rounds as you inhale, maybe incorporate some gentle arm movements as you inhale and fill your lungs. Feel as though you're filling a balloon with air. Notice it expanding to the front body, the back body, and the side body. Exhale and allow a heaviness to overcome your body, a contraction, opposing your expansion. 2 more rounds. Deep inhale. And gently releasing the breath. Exhale, noticing how much more expressive it feels to incorporate all these planes of movement. 1 more breath working through the frontal and sagittal planes. Slowly releasing that breath on the exhale. Yogis find stillness and gently blink open the eyes. We're taking 5 rounds either side now with a rotation working on the transverse plane. We're going to be inhaling and taking that rotation. Inhaling and drawing back to center, through center, all the way to the other side. Exhale. Inhale, allow the elbows to lift. Exhale, allow the hands to draw back to your midline. Inhale, drawing the breath through the nostrils, ballooning out through the arms, taking that beautiful big spinal twist. Exhale, release. Inhale, draw the breath in. Rotate all the way back through center now to your right side. Take a pause. Final 3 rounds. Walk the feet out at least shoulder width apart. Inhale, allow the knees to soften. As you exhale, deeply rotate through the pelvis now as well. Release. Inhale, feel into that softness floating through your entire transverse plane. Exhale, soften. 2 more rounds, maybe walking the feet a little wider, externally rotating in the hips, feeling your way out to a subtle goddess squat. We inhale and allow the arms to lift. Swing, sweep, and rotate the upper body, the knees, the legs. Exhale, sinking down. Inhale, maybe sweeping the hands overhead now as you feel into that rotation. Exhale, dropping the arms. Yogis, you have one final round of breath here. Inhale, sweeping the hands, circular motion. Twist, rotating transverse plane. Exhale, dropping down. Let's take it back to center as you inhale, squaring off the shoulders and the hips. Exhale, sweep the arms down the side body. Rotating the palms open. And gently blink open the eyes. And let's slowly heel toe the feet back in, big toes together to touch once more. For some polarity, let's take 5 sweeps now through that sagittal plane, feeling into the different energy. Inhale, sweep overhead. Exhale, release, palms open to the side body. 4 more, inhale overhead, maybe gentle back bend. And as you exhale, maybe hang the head heavy here. Notice excess tension through the neck, through the shoulders, through the upper back. Inhale, sweep overhead, gentle back bend. Maybe this time exhale, fold forwards, rounding out through the back, allowing the hands to hang heavy, the head to hang heavy. And twice more, unravel the spine. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, maybe full forward fold here. Again, noticing tension through the front bodies and the back bodies, maybe the hamstrings, the low back, the hips. Final breath, yogis. Inhale. Sweep the arms overhead, gentle back bend. As you exhale, fold and fall. We attune to that sensation through the front body, through the back body, those little points of tension, and through this sagittal plane. As you inhale, drawing overhead. Take the hands wide, exhale, and draw back to center. Consistently working through the sagittal plane, just like consistently finding ourselves in a state of contraction causes dis-ease and tightness. And if you notice through that sagittal plane breath work, any tightness through the back of the neck, the hamstrings, the hip flexors, your low back, the backs of your knees, consider if in your day you have been spending the majority of your time working in that one primary plane of movement, that sagittal plane. And yogis, let's bring it down to the mat and feel into now our frontal plane. But before we do, let's take a preparatory sweep of the arms overhead, linking or interlinking the fingers. Take them nice and wide, and with the palms open, we'll take a left side body stretch, finding our way into a crescent type position. Finding length through that side body, noticing the effect that gravity has and the tension, the resistance, and the contraction. And draw back through center, release, take a sweep of the arms, and we'll draw it to the other side as we're finding our way to this exact same posture upon the mat, removing these effects of gravity and contraction and finding a passive version. Let's take the hands to the left, opening through right side body now. We'll stay for one full round of breath. Maybe back off the stretch just a little. Exhale, release through that side body. And again, noticing any points of contraction and tension, fighting this posture. And drawing the hands overhead, releasing the bind. And slowly take a walk down the legs, finding your fingertips upon the mat and rolling over the knees. We'll be taking a pivot to the mat and find the sit bones connected. Your legs nice and long, and slowly unravel the spine, allowing your back body to meet the mat. Take a sweep of the hands overhead, just as you did when you were standing in your Tadasana, making sure you have freedom of movement around the mat. Interlinking those hands once more, and inhale, reaching towards the back of the room. And as you do so, point the toes towards the front of the room. Nice long lines through the side body. And then exhale, sweep the hands overhead. Let's draw the knees into the chest and take the hands to the shins. When we take our Apanasana, again, working in that sagittal plane. Releasing the back of the neck, releasing the back body, the head, and slowly release the feet out one by one. We're going to find our way to our crescent side body release now. As we reach the fingertips overhead, we'll slowly draw our crescent to the left side. So what we're going to be doing is taking the left heel out to connect to the left hand corner of your mat. Allow your right to follow. Left hand walks out, palm open beyond the left corner of your mat, and right hand draws out to maybe meet and to find a bind. Allow your left cheek, your left ear to find your forearm, your bicep, and connect, finding a little pillow there. And with the release of that sensation of gravity from our Tadasana position, are you able to passively surrender into this posture? We're here for 3 breaths, yogis. So as you inhale, I want you to send the breath to the right side body and feel that expression and expansion through the right side of your rib cage. As you exhale, maybe drawing a little tighter into your crescent position, maybe walking the feet and the hands off the mat just a little further. Notice that polarity and energy here. Once we remove gravity, it should become much more obvious. One more breath, and as you deeply inhale, notice your ability to send that breath to the right side, to direct that prana to the right side as you feel into that open, expansive spaciousness. And as you exhale, feel into that shortening and that contraction. Contraction and expansion through the frontal plane here. Our plane of expression. And let's slowly walk it back to center, feeling the heels back into alignment. And slowly find the shoulder blades back into alignment. And sometimes quite tricky to even know what alignment is after being thrown so far off one side or the other. Let's take the fingers to interlace. Inhale overhead and feel back into that alignment with the toes reaching towards the front of the room. As you exhale, let's curl it into a nice tight ball once more, drawing the knees into your chest, taking a grip upon the shins. Stay for an inhale. And as you exhale, rounding in, drawing the forehead towards the knees. And take a release. Send the legs out nice and long once more. Hands overhead once more. And this time taking a walk with those heels to the far right hand corner of your mat. Allow your left to follow. Right hand heads off the right hand corner. Left hand to follow, making any little adjustments you need. and allowing the right cheek and the right ear to meet the right bicep, inner arm, allowing the neck, the cervical spine to join this crescent type shape. Here for 3 breaths. So as you settle in once more, we feel into this beautiful, deep, expressive side body twist. Deep inhale. Send it now to the left side body, opening and expanding space between the shoulder blade and the pelvis, but also between the ribs, like an accordion. As you exhale, drawing back in and contracting down, finding a deeper state of contraction through the right side body. Here for 1 more breath. Inhale and open through that left side. As you exhale, drawing into that right side. Polarity of expansion and contraction. Let's slowly feel our way back to center. Toes reaching towards the front of the room. Take a interlacing of the fingers. Send the breath to the belly. Extending the hands overhead. Exhale once more, drawing those knees into your chest. And drawing the knees all the way in and allowing the pelvis to tilt. The tailbone to tuck. Take 1 more breath here, and as you exhale, draw forehead towards the knees. And this time as you inhale and settle the back of the head, we're going to slowly release just the right foot. Now playing with those same planes of movement here. When we take our quad stretch and take the foot behind the body, or take our flexion or extension into our hamstring, either way, our Apanasana, all working within that same sagittal plane. Finding expression today, we're going to be taking a right angle at the knee and then opening that left knee all the way out to feel into the support of the foot and the knee beneath the earth. Noticing any points of tension and slowly extending out the right. Let's use a counter now to anchor into that right elbow. And release the grip with the left. And this rotation that we're taking through the transverse plane. And then our movement is going to be working through that frontal and transverse as you use your elbows of both the left and the right to anchor, your right heel to anchor. We're keeping the left knee in that 90-degree bend and slowly releasing it out of the mat, out of the earth, and drawing it back through center, all the way across right side body. Maybe the tip of the toe to connect to the earth. Maybe the knee. Slowly drawing it back through center. And we'll take it across to the left. Anchoring strongly into that right and noticing the want for the pelvis to follow. Ball and socket joint at the pelvis here. And so biomechanically we, in theory, should be able to open comfortably. And most of us will have that knee and foot floating, and that's okay. It's for us to observe, noticing tension and tightness through this plane we're not used to expressing ourselves in. Let's take it across twice more. Inhale to center. Exhale, taking your rotation. Inhale this time, drawing straight back to center. As you exhale, opening the hip. We'll take it 1 more time this side. Inhale, draw to center. Exhale, drawing across the body. As you inhale and draw to rise, slowly releasing that knee all the way out again. And then we'll take a cyclical nature of the heel as you draw that left heel down towards the right. Allowing that heel to stay upon the floor for some fluidity and some ease of movement and motion. Left knee bends once more and we're drawing back up to that 90-degree bend, or maybe just a little higher this time. Exhale, drawing nice and slowly that left heel back into alignment. Allow the foot to roll in, the knee to roll in. Gentle counter internal rotation. External rotation, allow the foot to fall out, sliding on the heel and maybe the outer blade of the foot as you draw the knee once more. Exhale, outer blade of the foot slides along the earth, continuing back down into that elongated state, gentle internal rotation. Final time, yogis, this time drawing as high as is comfortable for you, and take a grip maybe beneath the knee and draw the knee up into that armpit or toward that armpit as you take now that deep external rotation, our Upanasana variation, moving out of that straight line sagittal plane and allowing for the posture to become a little more expressive. And when we feel into these alternate planes of movement, they feel expressive, they feel expansive. You feel a whole lot more. Yogis, your strap or belt, if that's handy now, will be useful. We're going to be placing it around the foot and taking the foot into an extension. Or if it's accessible with your hand, then feel free to take a grip on the outer blade of the foot as you find length through the hamstring. Slowly drawing that heel back in towards the sit bones. Take it now across the body, this rotation transverse plane. Switching hands, your left elbow, your anchor. Drawing the knee across the body, spinal twist, and your right hand now taking the inner blade of the foot or pistol grip and feel into that extension with the hamstring. Noticing tension you feel through the side body, maybe through those tight little ligaments down the side of that left leg. If you do a lot of running, even just active walking, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here with that ITB band, the TFL, which often finds itself in such a tight little ball of mess down the side body. Let's draw the heel back in towards the sit bone, take it across the body, working with your breath now, yogis, taking that just once more. Inhale, send it overhead, opening and expanding through the hamstring, right elbow the anchor. Inhale, drawing heel back in towards the sit bone, take it across the body. Left elbow the anchor, right hand your extension. Once more each side, taking the heel back down to the sit bone, finding your opening of the hip, taking it across the body. Staying with the breath, exhale, drawing the heel back in towards the sit bone. Spinal twist, take that left knee across the body, opening up your final time now. Off to the right side, left elbow the anchor, right hand your assistant. Let's slowly inhale, drop back into center, and if you haven't already grabbed your belt, then have that handy. We'll draw into an Upanasana now, straight line sagittal plane, and this will feel a whole lot more comfortable. A plane you're used to working in. And let's take the strap or your belt over the ball of the foot and find the strap or belt nice and long enough that you're able to completely extend that leg all the way down its full length to meet the right. And from here, yogi's taking a bind or double bind with the belt I find is most comfortable here. We're going to be releasing now like a clock your heel all the way out, no bend in the knee this time, working the heel ever so slowly, step by step, sliding the heel off the floor. And you can allow that rotation to take place as the outer blade of the foot rotates, the hip rotates. Maybe walking yourself here up the strap, drawing that hip into a beautiful deep opening. And as you exhale, slowly guiding that foot maybe along the earth or maybe hovering just above, as you allow that left heel to draw back into alignment, taking it now into that spinal twist across the body as you lift the heel using the strap as your counter, taking the left toes around the clock, drawing all the way across to the right side now, to whatever point for you in each range you sense that tension, that tightness, and you find your end point. We're going to be working through these ranges 3 times. That's once to each side already. Slowly find your way back into that center point and stay for just one full round of breath to really sense that center line, that midline in your alignment. And notice as you work through this frontal plane and as you work across left side and right side of the body, let's take it to the left side once more, how out of alignment you feel when you draw yourself back to center. Taking that sweep of left leg all the way across to left side, walking up the strap as you need, opening through the hip. Noticing any tension through the counterbalance of your right side. And notice that it's not the muscles that work in the sagittal plane. It's not your quads. It's not your hamstrings. Let's support you here. Exhale, drawing that left heel all the way back to meet the right. Continue this rotation as you hover over the right and take the toes, the sole of the foot, the heel in that spinal twist. Maybe using those elbows again as an anchor if you feel yourself falling. Or take a soft bend in the knee if you need through that left. And slowly return all the way home. You have one final time through this leg as you switch the hands and draw straight back up, left side opening. Deep rotation. And working through that left side of your pelvis, that ball and socket joint, knowing that it's feeling into and finding its way through these beautiful, deep, expressive internal and external rotations, these abductions and adductions. Take it across the body for the last time. All planes of movement and motion that our body is built and designed to do. We are built and designed to be able to express ourselves. Let's slowly draw back to center. And yet through society's conditioning, we sit, we stand, we walk, we isolate ourselves. releasing the strap in that one set plane of motion and movement. Noticing the warmth through that left hip and left leg. Notice the polarity and energy between the left side and the right side. Yogis, let's take the strap to release from the left and draw that right knee into your chest. Upper sagittal plane, knee straight into the chest. Taking the strap over the ball of that right foot and slowly extending the heel. Finding the right heel running the length of the leg. And this time taking the heel to slide off the mat on the right side as we draw now that right foot to rotate, making sure you have enough room, opening and finding your hip in an external rotation here through the right side. Maybe the outer blade of the foot connecting to the mat, and now checking in with that counter. Noticing that through the frontal plane, it's our side body that's contracting, shortening, lengthening, but also assisting in the movement and feeling into that counterbalance. Slowly draw that right heel all the way back across center. Take it over that left foot and draw the strap to the left hand now. Spinal twist, drawing the pelvis to release through that outer set of muscles and ligaments through the right side of your hip, your leg, and your low back. Drawing it back across through center. We're going to be taking this twist twice more. And as you do so, I want you to consider your day today. What actions, what movements, what motions you've taken so far. From waking up in the morning, did you roll over in bed? Did you sit straight up? Perform that flexion extension as you draw to stand and walk towards the bathroom. And taking it across the body, yogis. Beautiful big swing of the hips working with your breath these final couple of rounds. Drawing back to center and taking your time. Maybe even taking a pause in center just to check in with your alignment. The external rotation of the hip as you take your third and final round, opening up into your right side. Let's slowly draw the heel back and we'll find our final release here across the body on the left hand side. Did you sit in an office today? Did you walk to work? Did you walk to the bus, the train? How did you take your seat when you found yourself at work? Release the strap. Yogis, feeling back into center if you can find center now. Heels nice and wide, arms nice and wide. Close down the eyes, take a moment in stillness. Noticing now that tingling sensation running through both the left and the right side of your pelvis. Notice if it's an even sensation or whether you're sensing one side more than another. Let's slowly slide those heels in and find the soles of your feet upon the mat. Notice the heaviness of your legs, the fatigue from stimulating these muscles that work in the sagittal plane that are not used to working and maybe have not worked yet today. Yogis, this time as you draw the knees into the chest, we're going to take that rock and roll back in our regular sagittal plane and draw you to a seat. That bolster, pillow, cushion, whatever you're working with, draw that in now. And you'll be finding a comfortable seat here. Support for the sit bones. Keep the strap handy. Staying nice and warm through the shoulders now as the knees now draw to release. And there's a reason as we take our sukhasana that often so many of us feel so much more comfortable sitting with the hips internally rotated. They're just so used to working that one set plane. And when we sit in our sukhasana, our easy cross leg, or our padmasana, we're calling for them to externally rotate. We're calling for them to work through that horizontal plane, the transverse plane, but we're also calling for an adduction. So we're asking for them to also work in that frontal plane. And that combination of the transverse and the frontal plane is uncomfortable, but it's expressive. And as you sit in your expressive seat, your sukhasana, or if you're feeling comfortable to take a full padmasana today, then feel free to remove the support from beneath your sit bones and take your padmasana, your lotus, whatever's comfortable for you. Coming back to that strap, and we're drawing that same activity now to the upper body, the shoulders. And with the strap, as you find the belt in one side through to that right hand, let's take the left hand and run it the length of your strap. And you can just send the excess off to that left hand side. And we're going to take the hands overhead now, initially finding the arms, the hands, the elbows shoulder width apart. And you can check in with this by dropping the arms through that sagittal plane and noticing whether your hands, your elbows, and your shoulders are in alignment. Let's take an inhale and sweep the hands overhead, feeling into that gentle opening and back bend. Maybe finding a nice little release here through the shoulders. Notice the restriction to continue this range. Again, working with a ball and socket joint here in the shoulder, but our sagittal range is restricted. We need to work with the transverse. We need to rotate. We need to work with the frontal and take the hands a little wider. Let's walk the left hand down the belt, just one grip distance. Inhale, take it overhead. Notice maybe a little extra space that you have. Let's slowly draw the hands back down again to rest upon the legs, the knees. Walking it out again. Inhale, draw to rise. As you exhale, explore any extra range you have to the back body. And slowly drawing the hands back overhead. We're going to take this a couple more times. And we're looking to find a point, a position within your grip where you're able to take a full circumduction, a rotation around the back body. And finding that point by walking your hands out. The left hand down the belt, far enough that you're able to take the hands all the way behind the back body, making sure there's no restriction of the belt, no restriction of the props that are around you. And let's inhale, sweep it back overhead. Now the position that we want here for this full circumduction of the shoulders is the hands close enough upon your belt to your strap that you're able to just find your way through that full circumduction. And we're taking it 5 times. You'll find as you inhale and rotate the belt overhead, your shoulders beginning to loosen, to soften. Walk your hands back in the belt just a little. Third round, inhale, sweep the hands overhead, keeping the spine nice and tall. No give through the shoulders or the rib cage. We remain tall in our seat. We remain long through our spine. And 2 more rounds, noticing that extra warmth and walking it in, maybe just a little more. Inhale, drawing the belt overhead. Exhale, taking the belt to the back body. Inhale, sweep it overhead. And final round now, and walking the belt, walking your hands up the belt, maybe just once more. Let's inhale, sweep it overhead. Exhale, taking the belt to the back body. And this time as you inhale and find your way all the way back overhead, you're in your shortest possible range. For if you were to walk any closer up the belt, you wouldn't be able to find that full rotation. And this is the perfect grip that we're going to be working in now to take a play through all 3 planes. From here, yogis, if you have any excess strap, you might want to hold on to that as an extra little grip as well, so it doesn't hang, dangle, and get in the way. We're going to take the hands upon the knees, reset the spine nice and tall. Exhale, release. As you inhale, take the hands overhead, reaching towards the sky. Your left hand this time drawing down and working to the left side. Your right bicep drawing towards the right cheek, the right ear, that crescent pose that we begun with. And this time drawing forwards and rotating that right shoulder down towards that left knee. Right hand down towards the right knee, and take a sweep across the mat in front of you, drawing the right hand down to the right side of the hip. And we open now through the left side body, drawing through the window and gazing towards the sky. We'll rotate and repeat that twice more, drawing left hand down to right knee and take a sweep of the mat. Maybe resting that left hand as you draw to open that window through the right side, working with whatever space and range you need to draw through that window. Maybe that left hand remains planted and you draw into that deep crescent, opening through right side. And final journey as you draw and that rotation through the transverse, taking a swing and a sweep, planting right hand open, left side window. Your beautiful big crescent stretch. And yogis, this time as you draw all the way back to center, find the hands upon the knees, spine nice and tall and long. Let's take an inhale and sweep both hands back overhead once more. And this time we work through to the back body as well now. As we release the hands to the back body, we take the left hand down to the mat and draw the right hand overhead, noticing whether you need any extra space. Right hand draws all the way overhead towards that left knee. Take a full circle cycle. Right hand plants, left hand opens, and take it all the way to the back body. Full circumduction now as you plant the left. Right hand swings overhead, making your way around the mat, using the strap to create that tension, and using your entire spine, cervical, as well as you invite the neck into play. Drawing your spine to follow in the direction of your hands, your strap. Inhale, open. And take the left hand to the back body. And planting the left open through to the right. We'll find our way back to center, and we've got 3 full circles in the opposite direction now. Hands onto the knees, right hand plants upon the mat, left hand opens and rotates all the way overhead. Take a swing and a sweep across the front of the body. Left hand plants, right hand opens. Take it all the way to the back body. Swing and sweep behind the back body. 2 more full rotations here as you find your way fluently. expressing through all planes of the upper body. And final rotation. Yogi's closing out at the back body, sweep it overhead and release the strap. So beautiful. How are the shoulders feeling? How are the hips feeling? Release out of your Sukhasana, your Padmasana, whatever it is you've been working with your seat. Yogis, today we're closing out our practice with a variation of your Viparita Karani. And so often we would close out practice and take your Savasana in a Viparita Karani, which is running your legs up the wall. But again, that would be working in a sagittal plane. And so today we'll be taking a little spin on that. Inhale, sweep overhead. And strap behind you as you find your mat against the wall. Shuffle back in. And allow your hips, your sit bones, your hamstrings and your heels to be supported by the wall. In traditional Viparita Karani, we are here or supported beneath the pelvis. And feel free to use your bolster to run to support you beneath the pelvis. However, I find it more comfortable without the bolster for where we're heading today, rather than allowing the lymphatic drainage to take place in this sagittal range. We're going to be working again to express with our alternate planes as you release the heels and run them along the wall, flexing the toes, drawing the toes towards you, and slowly opening to express your Viparita Karani as you take your hips into that beautiful opening. Slowly allowing the heels to walk their way down the wall until you find that point, your end range, and allow your feet to hang heavy here. They're going to want to externally rotate, and gravity will draw the toes down towards the mat, towards the earth. Feel free to adjust your heels as you settle into this. And taking the hands, palms down to the belly, allowing the forearms and the elbows to rest on the mat beside you, creating a triangular shape and settling that in just below the navel upon the low belly. Allowing the index fingers and thumbs to meet. Slowing down the breath. Coming back to connect to the inhale and exhale as you settle the legs into this beautiful opening. And just as we work with that polarizing energy of flexion and extension through the front body and back body, so too, like the sagittal plane with those polarizing energies, we have these polarities through the frontal plane. Notice the beautiful deep release you have through your adductors, those muscles that run the inside of the leg. Slowly adjusting as you soften into this, the heels a little further down the wall. Notice that contraction and that warmth through the outside of your legs, your abductors. As you settle into stillness here, yogis, and settle into your breath. Staying with your breath, finding a softening, finding length in the exhale, and a surrender. Finding strength with each inhale and each exhale. An expression, confidence with your inhale, your exhale, that beautiful release, feeling into power on the inhale, and on the exhale, that feeling of freedom. Yogi, slowly taking your hands to the backs of the hamstrings and running them the lengths of the legs to the knees, assisting left side and then the right side to slowly draw the knees back together, the feet back together. Allow the heels to slide down the wall behind you, and so the soles of the feet meet the wall. Hands run now from the hamstrings to the shins and take the knees into the chest, your Upanasana. If your mat is beneath you to support your spine, take a gentle rock and roll across the spine. And then staying in that beautiful tight little ball. When you feel comfortable, allow the knees to fall, the feet to fall to your favorite side. Your fetal pose. As you press your hands into the earth and slowly take your rotation back to your seat. Join me upon the mat in your Sukhasana, your easy cross leg, or your hero pose, your Virasana. With the eyes still closed down. And we find our hands at heart center, each fingertip connecting. We inhale and draw the spine nice and tall, long and strong. As you exhale, bow the head and hang the chin towards the chest. Yogis, as we bow in reverence and respect to the divine wisdom and the teacher that resides within you here at your heart center. It knows the fullness and the polarities of not just your heart and all of those chambers and components, but the entirety of your physical body. And your heart begs and calls and beats for you to feel and for you to express yourself, to avoid that constant connection and contraction through one experience only. And it calls you to explore all four chambers and all four sides and components of the body, your front body, your back body, your side body, your rotation, your transverse. And yogis, as you leave the four corners of your mat today, I want you to consider your plain expression and how plain it feels and how expressive you're able to become with your movement. with your movements. Yogis, thank you so much for sharing your plain expression with me today. Namaste.